Another overtime nail-biter win by the Cardiac Canes. So we're excited, happy to be here. We got Slim Shady Canes, Sloop of Batman, and Hurricane Central already. What's going on, guys? How's it going?
I'm great.
Stressed. Stressed.
Uneasy.
Uneasy. Well, I'm happy. The W's the W. I'll take it all day long. All day long.
Right? Hey, what did the man say? It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning.
Winning is winning.
There is something
to that.
I'd like to kiss Andy Borregales' right foot because without that man, tonight would not be possible.
Right, exactly.
He is the man.
Well, and this year, too, has been one of those years where, like, a bunch of teams have been plagued with bad kickers, and it's cost people games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just redemption for him because I don't know if you guys remember his freshman year, he doinked the game-winning kick against Virginia. And
Yeah.
He was a true freshman. He shouldn't have been put in that position.
No, I'm not saying his fault, but it's just some nice redemption for him. It's a nice little storyline.
Yeah.
It's a nice, that full circle moment for him, right? Because without him, we're not in this game.
No. Cam Kinchin
We're
too
not
with
even
that.
in this game.
Cam Kinchin's too with that nice pick six where he just played it perfectly.
Yeah, that helped. Well, what did Borregales? What did he hit? Was it a 50-yarder? Was that so long today?
He
Yeah.
hit 3 field goals all over 40 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 48, 50, and 47, I think.
Yeah, and that 50-yarder would have been good from, like, 65.
He barely tapped the thing.
Yeah.
It
he's got a
looked
good
like
leg.
he was hitting an extra point the way like he barely tapped it.
And here we
Listen,
got
they make that look a lot easier than it is because I've been to the College Football Hall of Fame and tried to do that. And it's not easy. It really isn't.
Hey.
Yeah, but you're a soccer player, sir.
Doesn't count.
That doesn't count. That means you've got like the foot for it. My foot would shatter into pieces.
Okay, here I think we already have the best comment. Bowl eligible, baby.
Yes,
Bowl eligible.
Bowl eligible. We have already surpassed last season.
I
So
know.
everything else is just icing on the cake.
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, here we come.
Right.
I mean, we were saying it in the before the stream, Slim. If we go 7-5, but our only win next up is Florida State, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll be happy. I'm not even going to lie about it. It's more wins than last year. We beat Clemson and Florida State. Okay.
Yeah, I'd be super happy.
But
I want that
also,
Schnellenberger trophy. We haven't got a lot of trophies lately. You know, I want something new, some new
Speaking
hardware.
of which, I mean, Louisville answered some questions today, whether or not they were a flash in the pan that just got on a run or what. That was a good win for them today.
Yeah.
The ACC is so unpredictable this year, man.
It
It's
is.
so unpredictable this year.
I mean, look at Virginia. They're 2-6, but they don't play like a 2-6 team.
No. Well, and I said this in somebody's stream earlier this week.
We said it
You
last
can't
week.
come in here. Yeah, you can't come in here underestimating Virginia. They have fought tooth and nail in every single game.
Yeah.
I think coming into this one, 3 out of their 5 losses were by 3 points or less. Like, this is a team that's one bounce of the football away from being 5-2 coming into this, like we were. Like,
Yeah, and even then, you look at a game like Maryland where they lost like 42-14. Going into the fourth quarter, that game was 21-14. Maryland just ran away with it at the end, but they were in it for basically the whole game.
Yeah, Virginia. I mean, they're a tough team. You know, they've got a good line, and they're tough team.
Well, and they since we've been in the ACC too, they've played us pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that kid Malik Washington, man, is incredible.
We
had no answer for him today.
That pissed me off because he was basically the only guy they were going to all night. And he always got open.
You know what, though? I know how it feels now when we destroy a team and Restrepo has 14 catches for like $187. I know how that feels on the other side now. I know exactly what that feels like.
Well, and
that kid hits the portal. Throw him the bag.
I know everybody's pointing to Tyler Van Dyke in this game. And I'm not going to say he had a good game, but here we go. This is the second game this year. Virginia consistently got pressure just 4 guys all day long. So this was not a good look for the offensive line today or Tyler Van Dyke.
No, not at all.
No, before that last drive, we hadn't run the ball efficiently either. Like
Yeah.
We didn't run the ball that efficiently all game. There were some successful runs here and there, but the offense
We still had
total,
less than 100 yards rushing in regulation.
Yeah, it was like 93, right? Because that point was
Yeah.
93 to like 116, and I just thought that jumped off the page to me because we're used to dominating that particular stat. It feels like we've been 3 yards in a cloud of dust for the past couple weeks, honestly. Like we ran for over 200 yards last week, but it wasn't very efficient. Remember, 80 of that is on one play from Brashard.
Yeah.
The rest of that is 2 yards in a cloud of dust. So
Yeah.
we gotta get some space going, man. We gotta start pressuring the outside. I mean, Kobe Young not getting enough targets is starting to be a little confusing to me.
What was that, Alex? You're still with us?
I'm like,
have we witnessed the calamity that we thought we witnessed pre-show?
Well, and to your point on Kobe Young, I mean, he was also because unlike some people actually pay attention to see if receivers are open. He was not getting great separation today. Really, nobody was.
But see, with Kobe, if you're gonna give me man with Kobe though, I need you to put at least one of those up there.
Do you guys know the answer to this question?
I don't think he came back because we saw Riley, and then when they went spread late in the game, we saw Cam because Cam had that weird drop across the middle on that drag. I don't think we see Cam on that play if Arroyo is healthy. So I don't think Arroyo got back in.
That right there kind of goes to my point that I don't think they have a whole lot of trust in any other tight ends other than Arroyo, and apparently for good reason.
Yeah, the hands are.
It's
a little disappointing though because I really thought Riley Skinner. I mean,
look at this guy
Skinner
coming in here talking trash, man. You keep on dreaming, man. FSU, you don't stand a chance. Nah, not against us.
Hey, if there's one thing we've proven is we will play down to competition, but we will also play up to competition. God damn it!
Well, and FSU's not even a good barometer of that. Both teams are going to be up for that game, and 99 times out of 100, that's a close game. And I'm sure that's what it'll be this year. But we got 2 weeks for that.
Yeah, we got NC State next week. We've got to clean up the little things, man. Even in ugly games like this, I can understand if you're just in a dogfight, but when you're in a dogfight because you keep shooting yourself in the foot, it's even more frustrating. I can understand a scrappy team just hanging around and not going away, but we get out of our own way in that first half, and it feels like it's something that we just keep saying. If we get out of our way,
that's been the story of this season.
Yeah, we win this game hand over fist.
To a point that you've made, that's part of the process of a team.
Yeah.
That is the growing pains.
That's the growing pain. Yeah, learning how to win, and you got to win ugly sometimes. Sometimes you just got to freaking win ugly. And then you see the resilience, right? Look at USC after their Notre Dame loss. Ew.
Yeah.
That team needs somebody in that locker room to step up and say something.
And I haven't kept up with it, but last time I saw it, UC Berkeley was up on them by 11.
Like
last time I
right
saw
now?
It was. Let me see what it is now. Last time I saw it, it was 28-14.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 36-29 right now, going into the fourth quarter.
Now Lincoln
that
Riley
could have been us after the Georgia Tech game.
It could have been.
That could have been us.
And apparently, Lincoln Riley's pretty much already stated that Alex Grinch is gone after the end of this year. I've got a feeling if Lincoln Riley has two brain cells to rub together, he's going to be standing by his phone waiting on Kirk Ferentz to get fired from Iowa, which is probably going to happen. And then USC might actually become a pretty good team in another couple of years.
There's rumors of him maybe going to the NFL, though, Riley.
I can see that, too.
I want to do with the Big Ten.
USC just hasn't recovered from the Bush incident.
Oh, here's another funny one. Oh, never mind. I read that wrong. Never mind.
Do we have any? Do we have any? Let's see what we've got here in the comment section. Lot of TBD anger, but look, sometimes you got to win games in spite of your quarterback. Sometimes you got to win games in spite of your defense. Sometimes you just have to freaking find a way to win. It happens.
Well, and that kind of goes to my point earlier. I'm not saying TBD had a great game, but neither did his protection in pass blocking or run blocking.
But on the picks that he had, the first one, people were trying to say he forced it to Restrepo. He didn't. Restrepo absolutely had a step. He had grass in front of him. If TBD just makes a better throw, that's a touchdown.
Yeah, it's horrible ball placement.
Yeah, and the second one was just a good play on the corner, watching the ball and. Well, yes, it was double. Yes, it was double coverage, but the receiver had a step on him, and then the receiver undercut his route. I mean, the corner undercut his route. So that was just a good play by him.
Both of those balls, though, that's what upsets me is the ball placement sometimes. The idea that Restrepo throw is just too much air under it.
Yeah.
The ball placement there is. And so we did this thing that they've clearly taken a little bit from Mike McDaniels with the motion with Brashard pre-snap and having him sneak out into the flat. Several times he is just wide the hell open. One of them he did finally check it down, but it was a little too late. On the Restrepo play, Brashard's there, but to the point, Restrepo had a step. He did. If you put that ball to the corner, to the pylon, like you're supposed to throw that post corner, that out, that's probably a completion, or it's in a spot where the defender can't make a play. He just underthrew that.
No, it was a touchdown.
Yeah,
a lot of that.
I saw that one. That one was just underthrown. You're absolutely right.
It could be the knee. It could be a few things, but when it's a
he wasn't 100%.
And you know what? When it's the quarterback, if it ain't pretty, it looks. We all see all your mistakes. The guard misses plays all the time. We don't see it. We see all your mistakes at quarterback. So they're heightened. He did not have a good game, but we got the win. Hopefully, I don't think he was 100% healthy. I don't think he was 90% like they said either. I just don't.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I also think that Mario and the staff is absolutely right. Despite what the fan base thinks, Tyler gives us our best shot at winning. He just does.
Yeah, I agree. I saw Anthony Mendez up here. He's saying, facts, we need to pull TVD. But I really don't think anybody else is ready.
The
even
problem
last
is
week,
you don't want to hurt Emory if you do really believe he's the future. You don't want to put him out there too early. And you definitely don't want to play quarterback roulette. I'm not a fan of quarterback roulette. Like I brought it up today. I said, well, guys, if we're pulling 9, that means it's 17's job to lose. I'm not a fan of the roulette situation. If I give the keys, if I pull TVD at halftime of this game, my clear message to this football team is it's Emory's team now.
Yeah,
I don't like the back and forth. I don't like that. I'm pulling 9 because he's awful, but this is still his job.
Well, and
a corner doesn't get that luxury. A safety doesn't get that luxury. A running back doesn't get that luxury. If we go on with 9, we go with 9. If not, go with 17. But I don't like the back and forth.
And people seem to have short-term memory. We did that with Malik Rozier and Perry. And how did that work out for us?
We did it the next year with Jaron Williams and Perry.
We did it with Jake. I'm convinced we ruined Jake Garcia for football.
Well, that was due to injury, though. You're kind of forced to in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just is what it is.
That's true. That is.
And then you got
to put Jacorian because Jake struggled, and it's just.
Well, with Jake, it was he either wants the home run ball or he wants nothing at all. That's Jake's problem.
He got destroyed, and then he got hot feet like a son of a bitch. That's what I'm saying. I think we just ruined him. I think that kid was not ready to play yet, and we didn't have the offensive line to protect him.
Yes.
and he got hot feet, and he just. Yes. I think he still hears footsteps till this day.
Well, look, everybody that was high on him, where is he? riding the pine, third string at Missouri.
Yeah. That was shocking.
Not a good look.
I mean,
No,
I don't think you make that move unless you're dead set that it's Emory's job going forward. If your long-term goal is still to protect Emory because he's the future, as bad as it may hurt, hand that thing off to Mark Fletcher and let's play defense.
And we're also not the only ones to do it, because plenty of Tennessee fans are over Joe Milton, but they know better. Nico is going to be their bread and butter going forward, and you don't want to throw him in there when he is not ready to go.
UCLA was so hesitant to give Dante Moore you don't want to ruin a young quarterback by putting him in there when either he's not ready or the team is not ready to protect a young quarterback.
Yeah.
And we have the team to protect the young quarterback. So the other option is maybe he's not ready. Let's remember this time last year, he was preparing for high school on Monday. He's a true freshman in every sense of the word.
We saw he's not really ready. We said it on the postgame last show. A lot of things had to go right. Emory, did he make some big throws when he needed to? Yeah, but he also made a lot of those freshman mistakes, not just in terms of ball placement or where to go with the football, but also getting the team set on the line, ready to snap the ball. How many timeouts did we burn because we almost ran out the clock?
Now, I do have a question.
It was driving me insane last week because I'm thinking if you're going to start a true freshman, as a coach, you need to understand that you need to control the pace of this game, and your game management needs to be on point because it's a true freshman out there, and that drove me insane last week.
And you weren't here for that conversation. I had less of a problem with that than a lot of people, because, like for instance, just running the clock out there at the end. Do you want to put that kind of pressure on Emory and then he throws a pick six?
Yeah.
With the way your line had been playing, with the way your defense had been playing, that was the smart move to just take it into overtime.
There's that, I think for people that like quarterbacks, there's that, I want to see him gunsling. But then the second half of your mind also has to be, again, if he really is our future, let's protect our future.
I'm glad you said that. Why do we only see this in college? People, like you said, people love that gunslinger mentality. Nobody ever even thought about putting the ultimate gunslinger and Brett Favre on the bench. Why do we do it in college? Why do we talk about it in college? I don't get it. You have to take the bad with the good.
Yeah, you do. But so I think the good has to outweigh the bad that tremendously, right?
Sure, absolutely.
But you're right. You have to, if you on one hand say I want a Brett Favre, you do know that sometimes that's going to mean 17 for 34 for 197, 1 touchdown and 4 picks because the guy just would not stop testing double coverage all game. And the gunslinger mentality sometimes bites you in the butt. Jay Cutler once threw 6 picks in a game. 3 of them were to one person. And in the post game, he said he would throw it to D'Angelo Williams' side again if he could. And I was like, but you have to take that, right? If you want a gunslinger.
Don't remind me about Jay Cutler, man. As a Dolphins fan, that hurts.
Pain, right? Sorry.
That,
but you got to take the Jay Cutler. If you want the Brett Favre, sometimes you end up with Jay Cutler, damn it.
Yeah, that is the truth.
Give me Ryan
and listen, I don't
Cutler.
like.
God damn it.
I don't like 7 interceptions in the last 3 weeks. I'm not a fan of that either. But
8.
He's got to protect the football better.
Yeah.
He does, but I don't think it's like most things in life and football as well. It's never just one thing. It's accumulation of things. It's Tyler making some bad decisions or making bad throws. It's the offensive line from time to time is still not getting him good protection. It's the third playbook in his college career. It's an accumulation of things.
At some point, though, you have to ask yourself, can he be the guy we feel like he can be, or is he an amalgamation of what we've seen so far, which is good, maybe not great, but you can win with him?
I mean, there's been times he's played great. Like Texas A&M, he was legitimately great that game. Like he was making NFL level throws, and
He reminds me of Kirk Cousins.
Interesting to see because it's just interesting to see because I saw Tim Reynolds put something out where it's like Tyler in his first like 17 games or something, like it's a number, like 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Now these last like 3 games, it's been 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So it's just weird to see because we know he's not been the best at reading defenses, and he always has kind of stuck to that first or second read. But there's got to be something else going on besides just your standard regression, because it's just weird that a guy takes that much of a step back in the middle of a season after he's shown earlier in the season that he was playing at an elite level. He was those first 4 weeks of the season. He was playing at an elite level.
Well, and we also know he's not at 100%, so there's another factor that's playing into it.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot more to do with it than what he'll ever admit or what the staff will
Probably.
ever admit.
I completely
just
agree.
the fact that he mentioned the finger recently made me go, okay, so it's bigger, it's more of a problem than we think. The fact that he feels the need to mention it, because remember before the A&M game, Cristobal was not happy that it got out in the first place, but they made it a point to say it's not a thing. But for TVD to say not only is it a thing, but it's been a thing since the spring, lets us know that it's probably more of a thing than they're ever really, really going to care to admit, and all that does factor into it. He's got a splint on his finger. He still has the splint on his finger. I'll stop believing it's a thing when the damn splint is gone from his finger.
I mean, it would be hard.
I don't wear the splint when my finger is healthy. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, from what they've said,
I'll start believing it's no longer a thing.
Well, and it's not going to, because if what everybody's heard is true, and he tore 2-3 ligaments in that finger, he's going to have off-season surgery. So it's not going to be gone this season. It's not going to be gone until until the season's over and he has surgery.
Do you guys
It
think
reminds me a lot of Ja'Cory Harris. Ja'Cory Harris tore ligaments in his thumb. The year that we all thought he started out the season, I think, not throwing a pick. He was leading the Heisman, and then he tore ligaments in his thumb. Couldn't really hold a football and couldn't put any zip on the ball. Right. And his season plummeted from that point. Interceptions, left and right, and he wasn't the same quarterback. There is something to not. I mean, you've got one hand. This is your only tool you have to use as a quarterback. If any of this is damaged, that's
it changes
probably
things
not
quite a
bit.
And it would be hard. It would be hard to throw. I mean, your normal throw, and then all of a sudden you got the splint on there. I mean, that's going to make a difference.
Now you've got to.
Yeah, it definitely, there's an adjustment to it, no doubt. But you brought up the same thing with Harris. It was the same thing with Stephen Morris. That year we went 9-3 with him. He had a bum ankle all year. Remember, because he had that one ankle taped up like it was a cast.
Where are we cursed at quarterback, guys?
Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
somebody protect Luke Nickel.
Once again, some of it is self-inflicted, man. It really is. I mean, you can't change quarterback coaches and playbooks year after year after year and expect somebody to get better.
Yeah, that's done the guy no favors. It makes me wonder, is he coming back next year? This is not the tape he wanted.
I thought he was anyway, just because it was such a stacked quarterback class this year.
Yeah, Alex was asking earlier, do you think TVD will come back next year?
Yeah, I do.
I don't. This is not the tape he wanted for the NFL.
Right.
Whether or not he's back at Miami or not is probably a more interesting conversation versus whether he's back in college or not. Because I just don't think this is the tape he would want to. You know what I mean? I think he wanted 10 A&Ms to put on tape for this year. For the pros. So I could see him deciding to come back. The weapons aren't really changing much either. I mean, he's got more coming in next year than what we already have. I think the interesting question would be, is he wearing a Canes uniform next year? Not if he's wearing an NFL uniform.
if he isn't wearing a Canes uniform next year, it's by his own choice. Mario will try and get him to stay.
I think Mario will have him if he stays, if he wants to.
Yeah, if he leaves,
especially because what we got in 24 is Judd. Judd's still going to need some seasoning. Having a great year at Warner Robins, but he's kind of like Emory, where he's got all the tools, big kid, strong arm, but he still needs some seasoning. So having a veteran in front of him, it's not going to hurt.
And I'm not one to knock a 3-star, but it is just a simple fact that if you want a guy that's ready to come in and play like a Tua, you have to land a bigger quarterback. And that's something Miami has struggled with doing. I mean, I know Brad Kyle was a 4-star, Van Dyke was a 4-star, but I think the last time we actually landed a 5-star quarterback was, Kyle Wright.
Yeah, that's painful. Please don't say that again. Well, we had one, but $15 million and he flips and then all that stuff. Don't worry, guys. 2025, Luke Nickel is on the way. Quarterback of Milton actually just broke a high school record the other day, threw for 405 touchdowns. The kid is insane.
Actually, somebody I'm looking forward to is Nye Carr next year, because if I had stayed in Georgia, I would have played for Coffee County High School.
Oh, yeah, Nye's incredible.
The
receiving courts coming in next year is insane. I mean, Chance Robinson, Josiah Trader, Nye Carr, those are all bona fide number 1 receivers. They're all bona fide
Jeremiah
number
Smith.
1s coming in.
What is that
Tony,
noise?
hang on.
Slim,
Tony,
are you getting shot at, Slim?
No, what?
Oh, we keep hearing that loud gunshot sound coming from you. I don't know what it is. I keep thinking, oh my God. First, I thought it was Alex getting shot in the car.
I'm not hearing it.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's kind of cool,
No, I'm in.
Let me address this real quick.
It adds an element of danger.
Let me address this real quick. Tony, if you watch that game and you can't see Virginia consistently getting pressure with nothing but rushing 4 guys, you're football ignorant, sir.
They kept him
All
clean.
night
I think he's referring to the first interception. He was clean on the first, but he wasn't clean
if you're
on that.
just talking about the football interception, I mean the first interception, okay, fine. But they were consistently getting pressure on TVD and flushing him out of the pocket, rushing 4 all night. Or all day, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, this wasn't the offensive line's best game. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
I mean, the rushing yard. I mean, I think like
Damn it, Slim! What the hell?
It's hilarious.
You know what that might be? I just threw out a cigarette. That might have been that.
I thought that's what it might be.
How is that a cigarette?
I was gonna I didn't want to say that because it didn't seem like it could have been. But I was
Slim,
like, maybe
you're firing a double barrel shotgun.
My bad. No, it's raining.
It wasn't the
out
offensive
here.
line's best game. I think we can agree there on the ground or in pass pro. I think it's one of those games where I don't think it was our best game anywhere. I think the secondary didn't have their best game. Even as much as Cam had the pick 6, but Cam made some mistakes in the game. The front 7, as good as they looked, and the run, their run defense was a bit shoddy at times, giving up the edge quite a bit. That's driving me insane. So I don't think it was our best game anywhere except for Andy. I think Andy Borgalis was the only. Our special teams unit was solid. Letting Ray return kicks, I think, is awesome. The punt returns. Get somebody back there that you trust. Fair catching a ball with 20 yards of space in front of you is starting to drive me insane.
Well, that's driving you insane. How about where it boinked off the top of whose
Tyler
was
Harrell.
that? Was that Tyler
Harrell? Oh, okay. I take that back. So it was just Andy. It was just Andy.
It was just Andy.
It was just Andy.
I saw that play and I was like, oh, that's why he hasn't been playing special teams.
Well, and that's kind of like that's been a problem that even kind of continued into this year until they got Ray back there. Like, you couldn't count on anybody to catch a punt except for X.
That's why he
Yeah.
has the job, just because of his hands.
Yeah.
But then I want you to at least compete. Get me 5 if you can only get me 5. But fair catching a ball with 10 yards of space around you,
Drive
compete,
you
man.
nuts.
How did you
Compete.
your elbow?
That extra 5 or 10 yards flips field position. It changes things. Just compete. I don't understand not competing. I think
Well-
we're so traumatized by punt return that Crystal Ball's like, if y'all don't
But how
fair
did
catch
you-
every fucking punt, I swear to God, I'll put nobody back there.
Where?
I think that's what it is. I think we're so traumatized by it. They're not allowed to return punts.
Are you
It's
home?
put somebody back there with good hands, fair catch this thing, and it's 1st and 10. Let's go.
Oh,
But I mean, to Workforce's point, and I think to all of our overall point, when you're in a season like this, you're going to have ugly games, but the big thing is to come out with the win.
Right. At the end of the year, everybody's looking at your wins and losses. Not everybody's, critiquing it as we do.
Yeah.
My dad used to say if you get an infield fly pop up and it drops in and you went to first base, the box score shows a line drive first hit, a line drive hit. It doesn't, they don't quantify it. They just the line drive base hit. They don't know that I bunted. They just know that I got a base hit. Sometimes you just need to walk away with the W, man. And that helps the locker room. We kept talking about how they have to learn how to win together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Winning games like this helps you believe the next time you're down. It helps
Right.
you believe the next time you come out flat because they can say, look, we've pulled ourselves out of this before. We can do it again. What hurts is when you keep losing games like that. Then when
like
it happens,
Clemson.
you go,
Well, and
not again.
this
Instead of
isn't
we can do
something-
this.
This isn't something that's Miami specific either. You look at elite teams like Georgia; they had to stumble their way out of Auburn with an ugly win. So this kind of thing goes for everybody in college football.
Yeah, and
Nobody's ever won
Anthony's
anything without
comment.
any luck.
Yeah, Anthony's comment here. I mean, that goes to what Slim says over and over and over again. Is you got to keep the coaches around. Otherwise you're going in circles.
But to Slim's point too, Anthony, you have to have somebody stabilize that position first. Somebody has to have the position for more than a year to stabilize the damn thing. You couldn't draft Patrick Mahomes and then throw him out there. You needed Alex Smith.
Yep.
So Alex Smith could stabilize the
It's
room
also-
and allow a young guy to grow.
It's also very rare to find a situation like in Alabama where it's like Jalen Hurts, true freshman, start, take us to the national championship game. Tua, true freshman, win the national championship. Mac Jones, he was like a low end 4-star. Hey, guess what? You're gonna be the quarterback and lead us to a national championship. That's very rare. So yeah,
Especially in this day and age now with the portal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
well,
If you
well,
bring in
yes.
a 5-star kid and he doesn't see the field the first year, you're in danger of losing him.
Mhm.
Well, part of the reason, and I'm gonna say that's a bad example for one reason. Alabama has not recruited outside of the top 3 for like 15, 16 years in a row. When
That's
you
why I'm
have
saying
that
it's
much
rare.
talent, when you have that much talent around him, here's one that Kane fans have given me flack for. Ken Dorsey was mid, but all the talent around him made him look better than he was. So the talent around you can kind of compensate for the fact that you're a younger player, but we're not at that talent level yet.
Alabama had that well-oiled machine. But even Bama realized, Nick Saban realized at one point, I cannot continue to discount the quarterback as a playmaker. I can't.
Yeah.
It can't keep being John Parker Wilson. It's got to be somebody that can make a play. And I think when you saw Bama start to spread it out a bit more and actually trust the quarterback, Nick Saban is not recruiting Bryce Young 5-6 years before that. No way, because he doesn't want to deal with the headache of Bryce improvising. But I think even Saban realized that sometimes you just need a guy under center that can get you out of a tough situation.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not gonna win. Like how many national championships does Saban have at Bama? Like 6. You're not gonna win
he's
6
got
national.
6.
You're not gonna win 6 national titles while you keep recruiting the Greg McElroys of the world. Which, hey,
he eventually had to change. He eventually had
Yeah.
to change.
I mean,
And I think
like,
that's college football nowadays, though. You got to have that guy under center.
like,
I mean, no,
like
we're
to,
seeing
to
with
that
Dabo,
point right there,
failure
though.
to adapt kills you. We're seeing
Well,
with
to
Dabo.
Hang on, Alex. To
Say
that
that
point right
again.
there, to that point right there, I have more faith because of what's been put on film. I got more faith in Tyler Van Dyke to win a game than I do Greg McElroy.
Yeah.
Greg McElroy
you're screwed
was.
if you're down and you got Greg.
Yeah, I mean that's just a simple fact.
But to Central's point, you have to adapt. Look at Dabo. Dabo can still recruit. Recruiting's not his problem. The problem is he refuses to use the portal, and everyone else around him is still using it. Your refusal to use the portal does not mean everyone else around you is not using it.
Wait, Chalupa, hold up. I do have to say, I think Clemson will bounce back because Clemson, they're not using the portal, but they have the NIL that matters. God's name, image, and likeness.
And a whole lot of bandwagon fans.
Well, and I'm
No, you
actually
got the
gonna.
Lord on your side.
I'm actually going to disagree with both of y'all there. I do think roster management has kind of been a problem with Clemson, but when CJ Spiller has never coached anywhere but Clemson and he's your running backs coach, to me that's a much bigger problem.
I've heard a lot of Clemson fans bring that up where it's like, what are we doing? Like, why do we have like high school coaches?
Well, and I don't see anything wrong with a high school coach. I mean, once again, we have a guy that just a few years ago was in high school. So guys get brought up from high school all the time, but to have multiple of them, or to have, or a lot of your staff is comprised of graduate assistants that have worked their way up. Which, once again, I'm not against a grad assistant, but okay, maybe one. You know, maybe
These are
one
people
from
that
high
have
school.
not developed talent before. So you're
Yes.
seeing a team that can still recruit at a high level, not develop at a high level, unfortunately.
I mean,
Yeah.
Dabo, I've heard Clemson fans bring this up where it's like, they don't understand what's happening with Dabo because this is the guy that went from firing Kevin Steele to hiring Brent Venables. You know, so it's just weird that he's not going out there and getting these splash hires and making these.
You start to
like-
believe your own hype sometimes, and you start to believe it wasn't them, it was me. And then reality comes crashing down, as it is one to do. And it reminds you that it takes a village. Nick Saban didn't win all those by himself too. You know what I mean?
No, there's a reason that, like, they've made a point of bringing up Alabama's 2015 title staff because every single one of those guys are head coaches now. Well, Mel Tucker was, but I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
And then it's hard to sustain that, right? Because they start plucking away at that well-oiled machine that you have. Now you're replacing a part, but how often can you continue to replace that part with a quality replacement? All right, so you lose your OC, right? So I bump up my quarterback coach because he knows my system. But then when he gets his job, I got to bump up who's now my new quarterback coach who used to be an assistant. 3 guys down, this is a Joe Schmo now. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't really a part of the system. Now it's a graduate assistant, and it's not someone that understands the method of greatness that we had here. You see that with all dynasties. Once you start picking apart that coaching tree, a lot of times we credit the message too much to the head coach sometimes, and it's more so like Voltron. The head coach is a little bit of his OC, a little bit of his DC, a little bit of his passing game coordinator, a little bit of his running game coordinator. You start plucking those voices out of the room,
sure,
and it's hard to replace some of them.
I think the only exception to that, because there's an exception to every rule, and I agree with you, that's the rule. The only exception to that would be Tom Osborne. Nobody did it at that level for that long, other than him.
That long, yeah.
And I do think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, like Saban, he had an eye for assistant coaches with talent.
And that is a talent in itself. Being able to evaluate coaching talent. Yeah,
yes.
It really is. Look at Sean McVay. To me, his best attribute is he can evaluate offensive coaching talent like nobody's business. He's a great offensive mind himself, but he notices other intuitive offensive minds more so than we've seen anyone. I think his tree is ridiculous. It's like Walsh-like at this point. His tree.
Yeah.
And Cristobal and our staff will get to a feeling like that. We just got to remember that he's still building. Like, we want that, but that takes time. Nick Saban did not walk on campus and say dynasty, and everyone was like, yes. It was more so like, please build us one, and it takes time to build a dynasty. Hell, that's why we enjoy rise and fall documentaries of anything, right? Because it takes so much to build something that's so great, but it collapses fast, and it's fascinating, that entire ride.
Yeah. I mean, we said it. We were saying it last week. It seems almost like everyone wants the little hot pocket dynasty of like LSU 2019. And I said it last week. Look, if it takes 8 years if I were to come into the past and it's like, hey, Mario year 8, that's when he finally wins a natty, and it'll be sustainable and he'll win a few more. I'll take that. I'll take it. Even if there was an 8-4 season, a 9-3 season in the middle of it all, if at the end of it it's a sustainable dynasty, or we get like 2 national titles, I'll take that. Bobby Bowden is one of the most respected and greatest coaches of all time, but he doesn't even come close to Saban in the national titles category. He only won 2, which is still
nobody comes close to Saban in the national titles category, but Saban's like number 8 on the list when it comes to wins. There's a bunch of guys ahead of him.
This is what I'm trying to get at. Anybody, if you go to any fan base and be like, would you have liked to have had the success that Florida State had during the 80s and 90s? You say, yeah. Would you like to have had the success Miami had during the early 80s to early 90s? Yeah. Gators, yeah, I guess you had Urban Meyer.
Well, you have to figure they didn't realize football was they didn't until they hired Spurrier in 1990. They didn't know football existed in Gainesville.
Yeah,
they still don't all the way.
Well, yeah,
but
yeah, especially
USC went through before their dynasty. People just think USC was just great before Pete Carroll. Spoiler alert: they were not.
Yeah,
they were not at all. I still remember the package, the Heisman hype package for Carson Palmer, because they rescued an old program. They had some terrible years there before they got to see the sunlight.
We were talking about Bama. Look at from when Gene Stallings left until Nick Saban got there.
I'm old enough to remember when they were a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because
I'm old enough to remember when no one cared about them. You never thought about Bama. They were
and that's that cyclical nature of college football that I bring up all the time. When Miami was busy winning and playing for national titles last time, Alabama was on bowl suspension and winning like 3 or 4 games a year.
Yeah,
because old fat boy Philip Fulmer snitched on oh God, who was that there at the time? That was Shula, for paying Albert Means to come there.
We might see it happen with Michigan soon.
Yeah, they're not looking to.
Hey, look, as long as I don't care. I don't care if they cheated. They beat Ohio State, so that's fine by me. Sorry, Mike.
You know what?
There is that, right? Ohio State losing. I just need that to stand. If they get in trouble, just don't give that one back.
I have a very unpopular opinion when it comes to Michigan. I don't care, because here's the thing: sign stealing. There is no rule against it. It's perfectly legal to do it as far as the rules go. But it becomes you're breaking the rules when you do it with a video camera. Like, I don't care about your means of doing it. If it's okay to do it, it's okay to do it. Whether it's a video camera or a pen and a pad of paper.
I started playing baseball when I was like 4. I was taught to steal signs when I was 4.
Yeah, in baseball, that's normal. You know?
Are you an Astros fan?
This is hilarious because I'm from the Bronx. I was born in New York. I'm a Yankees fan. So people were bothering me about that. They're like, "Yeah, the Stros stole signs." I was like, "Yeah, everybody does it." But they got caught, and I was like, "Well, that sucks." But if you're gonna tell me that the Yankees don't steal signs, I'm gonna tell you you're lying. Again, I learned how to play baseball when I was 4. I was taught to steal signs when I was 4. It's a part of the game,
right?
Chalupa, every time you come on here, I love you a little bit more because I'm a Yankees fan too.
It's
so
a part of the but it's a part of the game, right? I'm like, all right, so like we probably stole signs the same game. The only reason I thought the Stros should have been punished because they were stupid enough to get caught. Like if you get caught, then then you accept the consequence. But you mean to tell me that they're the only ones? If they're the only ones stealing signs, I'm pissed off for a different reason because I learned how to steal signs when I was 4. So the Yankees should definitely be doing that shit. So like I think everyone does it. It's the thing is just when you get caught, once you get caught doing something you're not supposed to do, you take your slap on the wrist and you keep it moving. But you know how college football is, dude. That's my story is gonna die in a week, and none of us will care about it.
That's my.
I don't even care about it right now.
Jumping on Michigan, like it's not. You're not breaking any rules stealing signs, but you are breaking rules stealing signs with a video camera. That's just where I think it's dumb and sign stealing, and to me, it's a nothing burger. I don't care.
Hey, don't have signs that are that simple to steal.
Yeah, right.
I'll just say this. How many Indian shops because of all the T-shirts that were made?
Wait, do what? You broke up really bad, Alex.
Yeah, you broke up there.
I said something interesting about that whole sign stealing thing is how many sweatshops did the Astros keep in business from all the trash can T-shirts that were made?
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands upon thousands. I like the effort. They had iPads and shit. I was like, that's legit.
Right?
That's new age sign stealing, baby. I like it.
Well,
like
and like
here's to my
thing.
team. Now it's
and once again, nothing is foolproof, but we already know you can stick a speaker in a helmet. That's one way you can do away with stealing signs. I mean, I saw the AT&T commercial about 15 times during this game about the little heads-up display that they can put in a helmet now. So I'm sure you can put it on a visor. I mean, okay, you want to do away with sign stealing? Do that. Quit crying.
Right, I agree. Either make it legal or don't.
Well, it is legal.
Doesn't matter.
Like I said,
exactly.
the rule. Yeah, it is legal, but
you ain't trying.
Right.
Yeah, that's like these
wrong.
indignant Georgia fans that run around talking about Kirby Smart does everything by the book. Fucking spare me. No, he doesn't.
Nobody does. Nobody wins that way.
Except for Miami. Except for Miami. We're the only team that has never cheated, so.
They never proved the
they never proved what we do over here is God-fearing young men who don't curse or stay up late.
I'm gonna quote a very famous lawyer: "If the gloves don't fit, you must acquit." Miami's been accused of it left, right, and center. The NCAA.
Hell of a quote from Miami too, isn't it?
Hey, you know what? But it's very appropriate because what have they ever convicted Miami on? Like when they got him in the 90s, that was for the Pell Grant scandal by the vice president of the university.
Yeah, the NCAA would very much like to catch. I think they want to catch us wrong more than they care if we're actually doing something wrong, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, Nevin Shapiro proved that.
I mean, to even go to, like illegal means and nefarious means to try to get your information or to dock your information to make it look like we are doing something. I think the NCAA would be happier that they caught us rather than they would be concerned about what we're doing.
Well, and if you look at the interviews that were out there about it, that was their only way to get any information because, like, Willis McGahee put it point blank out there. They come knocking on his door, and he slammed the door in their face. He doesn't have to talk to them.
Why would I?
And he didn't.
Why would I talk to you guys?
Ain't no snitch in Willis McGahee's blood. Willis McGahee, hey, he proved he ain't going to go Tekashi 6ix9ine on us. Ain't no snitching him.
There isn't Aiden Hutchinson, though. Aiden Hutchinson basically did not he kind of confirmed the sign stuff without confirming it. He was just like, I don't care while we're talking about this. We're going to win another one, which I don't know what he meant by win another one. I think he meant a game because they haven't won a national championship since the bicentennial. I think he just meant like a game. I'm not sure what he meant by that. I think he was talking about a natty, but they haven't won one since like 75 or something like that.
Now, have you
Like
seen
77?
what's going on
Michigan?
Twitter since then? Because now, like, Clemson fans have grabbed a hold of this because apparently they sent somebody to a Clemson game.
Oh.
And now Clemson fans are talking about, South Carolina went and bought the signs from this coach. And Tennessee went and bought the signs from this. Yeah, so now we got a whole racket going. Selling shit to other teams.
Also, wait, this is an interesting comment. Virginia.
If there's signs being sold, I want Cristobal to buy them.
Right? Well,
this is weird.
I have it on good information that they sent somebody to the Clemson FSU game earlier this year, and I may or may not have been in contact with that coach on Twitter and bought the signs. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Or deny. All right. This is interesting.
Yeah,
No
what were you
penalties
saying, what
for
were you saying,
Virginia.
Alex?
The Virginia was the 87th. God damn it, Slim. Again?
He's back to shooting guns.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Virginia was like the 87th most penalized team in the country. I saw this earlier. And they had 0 penalties today. And I can recall a few times where I might have seen some holding calls.
Not just that, illegal hands to the face on Ruben Bain on the play that they called unnecessary roughness on him or roughing the passer. TVD had a nasty face mask on.
I saw that.
The one where he kind of had to improvise and kind of dumped it off to Parrish. Nasty face mask on TVD on that play. Ruben Bain just doesn't get called for holding. It's like the Shaq thing where they're like, well, he's so dominant or he's that physical that we allow it. But it's still a damn rule. Like,
is Ruben Bain our Hack-a-Shack?
Yeah, it's like you're just allowed to hold. You see him bending around the edge and you see his jersey extended and they're just like,
if they called holding adequately, Ruben Bain might have broken the NCAA Dyke record by now, honestly.
Well, if they called holding accurately, you would literally have a holding call on every play of football.
That is actually true. That is actually true.
But in to Ruben Bain's credit, and for everybody that gets credit, there's somebody not getting credit. There's a reason, at least partially, why Ruben is able to do what he's been doing. Because Leonard Taylor is drawing a lot of double teams this year.
Oh, him and Branson Dean.
Which is helping out Ruben quite a bit.
Yeah, and Branson
Dean's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but he has probably been one of the most dominant defensive linemen we've had this year.
He showed up today. He had a clutch sack near the end of the game.
Yes, he did.
It was Virginia's,
his ability to
final drive of regulation.
He can play inside, outside. When they do that stunt with him where he loops around to the outside, he's got that bend. But inside, the penetration he gets up the gap is it's insane.
The reason I'm putting it out there is because, and I'm glad the ACC did this. The ACC put out a thing. Leonard Taylor's grading out as a top 5 interior lineman in the country.
He's Mel Kiper's number 1 DT.
He's not going to show up on the stat sheet, and it's unfortunate. But that's why I like Pro Football Focus, because they look at things other than just what shows up on a stat sheet. Being that disruptive in the middle just makes it easier for that's why our linebackers are allowed to fly around like they are this year. And that's why they couldn't fly around last year, because there wasn't they were getting eaten up by guards and the centers at the second level. And right now you're seeing, look at the game Kiko had. You want to know why Kiko had that great of a game? Because he's playing free. The interior offensive line cannot get to the second level and get hands on him. So
that's another one. He's grading out as the top linebacker in the country right now.
In the country, yeah. He's insane.
So I throw that out there because I'm a fan of, the guys that to Chalupa's point, what their contribution doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it is absolutely critical for what has to happen.
Tim just put it in the comments, and I saw the notification pop up from Adam Lichtenstein. Mesidor is out for the rest of the year.
Oh, I'm
That
gutted
sucks.
for him, man.
Yeah,
that
stinks.
So him and Kelly. So you're down Kelly,
Yep.
you're down. You know what though? Jaden Wayne. Big shout out to Jaden Wayne today.
Yep.
He had a phenomenal game. Now there was a play where he gave up outside containment on that touchdown run. That's going to come with time, but they got to get that young man some more snaps. He had 3 straight snaps, and he had a half a sack with Bain, the TFL on the quarterback, and then him and Bain met at the quarterback on the 3rd down play.
Yeah.
I just gotta say this. I don't know how Armando Blunt can look at this and flip to LSU because FSU. Because let's be honest, they're just gonna start someone from Central Utah State over your ass over there. Let's just be completely
I said
clear.
it. I said it myself. I said if you're a defensive lineman and you don't want to play next to Ruben Bain, I am confusion.
No,
Because you're not
especially
going to have
with
a
the
double
think-
team in your, for the next 3 or 4 years. Nobody gets double teamed on that defensive line because of Ruben Bain.
Listen, I'm not. I've followed recruiting enough and long enough to know that I don't care what somebody puts on Twitter. And we've seen this before. He could very well just
Slim.
be
Everything on
trolling Florida State fans.
Twitter. Everything on Twitter is real. No matter what. Everything you read on Twitter is 100% legit.
He could definitely flip back. Mario's known that kid since he was like 8 years old.
Yes, and I don't. That's far from done, and this very well may just turn out to be a troll because everybody's trying to figure out some way to steal the limelight on signing day, and this may just be the idea he's come up with.
And there's guys on his defensive line currently that we are still actively recruiting. Randy Adarica is a 25 DT that's right next to him. And we're actively recruiting him. D'Angelo Thompson, the 25 defensive end. He was at the Clemson game, actively recruiting him as well. And his parents, Armando Blunt's parents, love Miami. Like when I say love Miami, I mean like love Miami. So you're never out of it for anybody. Mario is not going to stop recruiting any of these young men. I can guarantee you that.
No, because
and he goes to Central. He's right around the goddamn corner.
Look at it 2 months ago. Everybody was losing their shit because the recruiting class doesn't look good. Mario's missed on this guy, that guy. And here we are halfway through the season, and they've got a top 10 class. And we all know lots of guys flip on signing day. That's why.
Oh, the flips are coming.
Oh, yeah. Especially for Florida because I've said this to a couple. I've got a couple friends that are Florida fans. Florida may only win one more game this year,
if they're lucky.
Yeah,
and that's Arkansas, and that's a physical. That's a physical team. Missouri has had their number since they joined the SEC. It ain't looking good for the Gators going down the stretch or that top 5 class.
What is their record now? Does anybody know that?
5-3.
5-3.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, if they're lucky, they'll be bowl eligible.
If they're lucky,
if they can hold on a DJ with as high as he was on Clemson too, and with Cade kind of struggling a bit this year, not struggling completely, but struggling a bit. It'd be interesting to see if they can hold on to DJ.
Yeah, I mean, they might get to a bowl game this year, but that schedule next year is going to be real fun for them.
That schedule next year is insane.
Yeah, it's going to be ruthless.
That schedule is
way.
Gator tears. Like, oh my god! I saw that. I thought it was a troll at first when I saw it on Twitter. I was like, oh, that's hilarious. And then when I was like, oh wait, that's an official account. That is a real.
It looks like one of those
next year.
It looks like one of those schedules you make in NCAA 14.
In NCAA, yeah, because you're tired of beating everybody on rookie.
No, when you've had like 10 number 1 recruiting classes in a row and you're like, I'm bored. I'll just schedule every top 10 team.
Yeah, that's insane. I feel bad for them. So get the recruits now, Florida, because that shit's going to be ugly next year.
Man, if they start DJ next year against that schedule, he's going to be ruined by week 8.
He'll be a Kane by week 9. What? I'm surprised one of these teams in Texas don't step up and throw a ridiculous amount of money at him. Letting him get out the state's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tim, I don't know.
Sark's-
Tim, I don't know.
Sark's kinda
We
got
might
who
be
he's got.
cursed. We might be cursed with injuries, but
Well, listen,
it happens.
every
It happens
team,
to every team.
The
Yeah.
the
Every
guys in
team
the
has
trenches, it
injuries.
happens.
but the difference in, like, I get it. Miami fans, yes, we have a decent amount of talent, but that's the difference between good teams and elite teams. We don't have Georgia level talent where you're plugging in another 4 and 5 star when somebody goes down. We're just
Right,
not
it's the
there
depth.
yet.
Yeah, it's the depth you got to build up, and the only way to build that up
Yep.
is recruiting, and the only and winning. You got to win some games, get some more people
That's
coming
why-
in.
So
That's why Virginia
That's
was
wh-
able to move the ball well, and then UNC too, because they moved into that up tempo offense, and they were able to
hurts
expose
the
the
big
lack
guys.
of depth.
And so that's why I get people asking, like, why Marquise Lightfoot in the same class as Booker Pickett, in the same class as Elias Rudolph. It's like, because you need depth. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
So-
It's because
so
when one gets
Chalupa,
tired, I'm
Chalupa,
throwing another bull at you.
I gotta ask you: Are you like the Devil Taco? Is that what this is?
This one, the nicknames I have been bestowed are endless, but this one from my brother Ao here is new. El Chalupa, aka El Diablo Taco. Is that a Taco Bell reference? That has to be a Taco Bell reference. The first
like
time I
it.
was on with Coach Hayes,
Well, and
he's
and
like, "Do
I
you
was-
just love Taco Bell?" It's like,
And I was
not
going to
really.
I was going to say something about that last comment you had up. Just because they don't show it on TV, the one before that with Ryan Smith.
Oh,
Just because
okay,
they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
show it on TV doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I mean, if you actually pay attention to the whole game and not go hang out in the kitchen for 10 minutes, they do occasionally show that kind of stuff. Tyler Van Dyke is up on the sideline talking to everybody.
The
and was doing
ACC
it
coverage
10
is
times
kind of
more last-
horrendous.
It is. And,
The
one
and,
that they
ACC
were
like,
coverage
saying-
is just kind of horrendous.
and like especially last week when he was hurt, that's all he was doing was running up and down the sidelines.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
the
don't-
one that they
we
were
don't get a
saying that
lot
was
of featurettes from the ACC. We don't get a lot of looks at what's going on the sidelines, or we don't see him with the iPad. Their coverage just kind of is what's on the football field at the moment.
Yeah,
And that's
and
about it.
occasionally they'll flip to the sideline while he's sitting there talking to X, or while he's sitting there doing something else. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And every once in a while you do get a glimpse of it. He absolutely is.
Different guys lead different too.
That is a fact.
I've sometimes guys are leaders, but they're not vocal leaders, and sometimes guys can look at you and tell you everything you need to know. It's those guys, and also you got to understand that they know their guys better than we do. So you know what I mean? Like Dawson and Jacoby George and Colby Young, they know TVD better than we do. So it could be a situation where they're like, "Oh, he's not talking to us. He's pissed, and he'll be ready on the next drive." This is that TVD where we leave him alone, or this.
Yeah.
They know him better than we do. They know. Maybe they know that he maybe not be a yelly guy, but when he tells you like we're good, okay, that's TVD telling us to get everyone's not like get the cup to motivate. Sometimes it's
Not
let's
everybody's
go.
Tim Tebow.
and it's that. Yeah, it comes in different forms. Look at the head coach of Notre Dame. Look at Marcus Freeman. He ain't screaming and running up and down that sideline, but the intensity's there in a different way. It's just a different way. Some coaches just look at you and you understand the message.
Randy Shannon was that type. Randy Shannon didn't have to scream, holler, and yell. Randy Shannon would just look at you, and you knew exactly what he was saying to you.
Whether it's bad or good, his eyes told you everything you needed to know.
Yep.
TVD could just be one of those guys they could be getting their leadership in a different way than what we're used to seeing, because you get the reverse, right? You can't have both. When you see a guy that's too rah-rah and too emotional, then he's emotional, and it's a fine line between that, right?
I mean, he could
you're
just be
either
like
Des
like
Bryant
you
or
said.
Tim Tebow, and they're kind of the same on the sideline, but If you're losing, people don't like seeing it. If you're winning, it's passion. So a lot of times we want players to do stuff and then they do it and then we hate them for doing it. So just let them do whatever the
I mean,
fuck
we
they
kinda
It's
do
a
for
damned
them.
if you
kinda
do,
said
damned
it,
if you don't situation.
I kind of said it last time you were on, where he could just be an Eli Manning, where Michael Strahan was talking about, like, he would go up to Eli and he'd be like, "Hey, Eli, you ready for today? You ready to have a great game?" And he would just be sitting there stone cold, and he would be like, you couldn't tell if it was the best day of his life, the worst day of his life, if you thought he was gonna have a great game, a terrible game, like you just didn't know what was happening with him. And like I get people want to see like that fiery passion because with Miami, that's what we're used to with all the dancing and in your face and talking smack. But you know, he does seem to have the guy's respect. And AO in the comments said, TVD is Russell Wilson, like i.e. he's talking about like that episode on the Shannon Sharp podcast with Marshawn Lynch. I gotta rock with Emory going forward. And we were saying it earlier, man, where you can't, like, Emory isn't ready, and he showed it last week, like, and I already said earlier too, where a lot of things had to go right in that Clemson game in order for us to win. And Emory did make the plays that he needed to make. But if we're gonna put Emory in, then it's gonna be his team, and we're basically telling TVD, hey, start looking at the portal, buddy. Get ready to learn Chinese. Like, you're out of here.
Well,
That's
to your
my
point,
only thing. My only thing is if the staff truly believes that it's time to go with 17, that it's a clear message. I'm not a fan of going with 17 and then telling him, but you're on a short leash because we have the veteran. Nuh-uh. If we're deciding to go with 17, you also need to accept the good with the bad with a freshman. He gonna have a 3 interception game. He gonna lose us one as a young quarterback. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You just have to accept that. So if we're going with 17, go with him. If not, we got to ride this thing out with 9. But I don't want to do the wishy-washy thing. It's got to be one or the other.
Here's the thing: what's that going to do to the locker room? Because I know everybody just looks at last year, and Gaddis gets blamed for everything. And I brought this up, and not many people agreed with me, but some people did. They absolutely went balls to the walls to try and save Manny's job the year before, and then Manny got fired the way he did. I think that demoralized the team more than people realize because we're not in that locker room, so we don't, we can only but assume. But I mean, when they were playing for Manny, they rallied around Manny, and I think that, and I wonder if you pull Van Dyke at this point, are you going to do the same thing with the rest of the team? Because we don't know what kind of leader he is. We just assume because he's not screaming and yelling in everybody's face, he's not the one that we like or want to see. But to Chalupa's point, I mean, he's damned if you do, damned if you don't there.
Does anybody know? Tim was asking a question about Zion. Does anybody know the status on that? Or
I don't think he'll play this year at all at this point.
I don't think he's going to play this year.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Citizen's getting closer though. If we want some positive injury news, Citizen dressed today and he looked like he actually warmed up before the game. I think Citizen's getting close.
Now, wasn't Arroyo like a game time decision 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. I'm curious as to what's going on there. I don't think he was ever maybe fully healthy, and I think maybe Dawson wanted to rush the tight end into his offense. Probably tired of getting the damn questions.
Oh, so I'm sure Dawson wants a tight end because Arroyo can add a wrinkle to your game that I'm sure he would love.
And they got one coming in next year that they got the tight end that they wanted over every other tight end in the class next year. Elijah Lofton. They literally put all their eggs at tight end in that basket and got him. So you can't tell me they don't want a tight end. All right. Like they went very hard for one. It's just, look, these weren't his groceries when he got here. He's making dinner with what he was given. And maybe he doesn't have a tight end that he likes. And we can all argue that, okay, Riley has some aspects, Cam has some aspects, but we don't know what Dawson wants in a tight end.
And something
what
tells
he
me
may want in a tight end may not be on the roster at the moment.
Yeah, well, and something tells me just from the play selection when those guys are in, Riley's probably the better option for catching right now, and Cam is the better option for blocking right now. Because, I mean, Cam's – isn't Cam that guy? He's applying for his 9th year of eligibility. It's like as long as he was at Oregon,
that's a grown man guy.
If I think he just is what he is, and Mario let him come in because it was somebody from Oregon, and probably
He gives us
figured,
an extra
especially
offensive
after
lineman out there. He's a hell of a blocker.
Yeah, and I think that was Mario's line of thinking, especially how the offensive line played last year, and Will Mallory's lack of any will to block.
that
might be the understatement.
The question on how come Riley's not playing more, Riley's done great.
He's a freshman.
But tight end is basically an extended tackle. There is a lot to learn when it comes to pass pro, when it comes to run blocking, when it comes to blitz pickup, when it comes to adjusting. There's a lot to learn at tight end. And then he also has to learn the entire route tree and the progression and the passing game. Tight end is not as easy as it looks on paper. He needs to be a receiver and an offensive lineman at the same time. So I think with a freshman, you don't want to give him too much too soon. It's the same. Anytime people ask me why freshmen don't play too much, I'm going to give you the same answer. You probably don't want to give him too much too soon. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule. Mark Fletcher Jr., Ruben Bain. There are exceptions to the rule, but genuinely, you don't want to give a freshman too much too soon. Riley has shown that you want to. Also, their bodies are still developing too. We see Riley's 6'5", 6'6", but we forget that growth spurt probably happened 2 years ago. Yeah, he's still young. He's 19 years old. He was in high school this time last year. So you want to give them time, but we are seeing them use Riley a bit more. TVD just isn't finding him yet. But I think we will see that change too with Emory. I think Emory does seem like he likes the middle of the field a little bit more than TVD does. Give this class time. This freshman class is going to be special. I think if you just give them time, this is going to be that freshman class that we look back on and say this was the start of something special for us. That class.
I'm not certain that TVD doesn't like the middle of the field. I think he's just been trained because he hasn't had a consistent weapon over the middle since Jordan.
Miss Brevin.
He didn't even play with Brevin Jordan.
He played with him some, but I mean that was like the last real consistent.
No, Brevin Jordan, TVD never played with Brevin Jordan, ever.
What year did Brevin Jordan leave? I'm trying to think.
After 2020. After 2020.
He left in... Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, Brevin Jordan.
Oh, yeah, because he left after his junior year. Yeah.
I was thinking he was there in 21.
I thought so too in my head. I was thinking, no. So yeah, Mallory through all those years. Now Mallory was a good tight end. He just couldn't block.
Mallory could catch, but Mallory, like you said, couldn't block.
Yeah,
or wouldn't.
But
block.
Even Mallory was that guy in the middle. We used to see that RPO Mallory up the seam all the time.
Yeah, I think Slim, you're right. It was more of wouldn't block than couldn't block.
Yeah,
a lot more of that.
Which is worse.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and I'm sure Van Dyke still got some PTSD from last year, and like I said, a lot of these things are just one thing compounding on top of another. But like we said, this is the growing pains the team has got to go through to get better. You're going to have some ugly wins like this, and listen, just because I like Van Dyke and I think he's the best option we have, I don't think he's some Heisman caliber quarterback either. But I do still think that by far he's the best option we have in the quarterback room right now.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
He's also the best quarterback we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's why to me, I didn't like their approach to quarterback coming into this year, period. I didn't like not getting another veteran or somebody in the portal in the room because you're one injury away from playing a freshman that you don't want to play. I didn't like, but then again, their approach to quarterback this year was supposed to be different. The guy behind TVD is supposed to be Jaden Rashada. So sometimes you do have a great plan in place, and then an 18-year-old kid does 18-year-old kid things, and it ruins your plan. Emory probably wouldn't see the field at all right now if things went according to plan because the guy behind TVD was supposed to be the 5-star quarterback, Jaden Rashada. So the staff did try to fix some of this quarterback, going forward. And Jaden Rashada is a lot of what fans are asking what they want from a quarterback. Big kid, strong arm, gunslinger, dual threat. They did get that, or they thought they did. And at the 11th hour, he flipped. So
and this
we
is
got to
something
remember that too. That the quarterback room wouldn't even look the way it looked if their plan went according to plan.
And this is something I've caught a lot of flack for too. Is I don't want a dual threat quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want a guy with cinder blocks for feet, but I don't want a dual threat quarterback because I'm the type of person I'm looking for somebody not only to have success there, but to have success going forward. And there are just limits with dual threat quarterbacks in both levels. You've yet to have a true dual threat win a championship at either level.
Cam Newton.
Yep.
Okay.
Cam Newton.
I completely forgot about Cam Newton.
Tim Tebow. Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts.
You can say Tebow to a point. I mean, Percy Harvin made him look so much better than he was.
Deshaun Watson, right?
Deshaun Watson was an underrated passer, though. Trevor Lawrence was a dual threat. He was a dual threat quarterback. No,
Trevor at Clemson.
They forced him. They forced him into that role.
They ran design runs with him at Clemson. That was more with him getting rushed out of the pocket. He's still very underrated on the ground. He's.
I don't disagree, but that Trevor Lawrence was not like Tebow or Lamar Jackson. He's looking at one option and then running.
That's the difference between a dual threat quarterback and a running quarterback, though.
Well,
when I say dual threat, I like a guy that can get me on 3rd and 5, that 9-yard scamper. I don't.
Well, see, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. That to me, that's a.
I don't necessarily need. You know what? Like, I don't necessarily need Lamar Jackson, but I do want a. I don't want this guy, but think Colt McCoy at Texas, right? Where his legs can get you 30 a game. And the 30 is
that's okay.
Crucial. You know what I mean?
We're just calling it something different. Yeah, like that. To me, that's just Colt McCoy, Trevor Lawrence. Those are mobile quarterbacks that can run.
Because it looks like that's what Dawson likes. If you watch, his offense at U of H, it is that guy, that Alex Smith type of. But he also likes a gunslinger. He likes a
like when I say dual threat, I'm talking like a Tebow, like a Lamar Jackson. You're not going to get 4,000 or 5,000 pass yards out of them a year, and they're going to maybe be your leading rusher. That's not what I want.
Yeah, no, but I need a guy that can move. TVD can't move as well as we want.
Yes, we completely agree.
But again,
this
isn't Dawson's. This isn't Dawson's groceries. He is inheriting. And TVD, he's not a stick in the mud either. Now, he was today, but he's got a giant brace, on his leg.
Yeah.
But TVD, he can get you 5 on a 3rd down. I think, though, with TVD, I don't dislike him because he's not mobile. I think we just need to adjust our expectations for the guy. I think anytime you got a quarterback, we all want Joe Montana. Everybody ain't Joe Montana, but he's good enough. Right. We just have to be good around him, too. We can't be sketchy around him. I think the frustration is when he comes out like this game, he just looked flat, but the entire goddamn offense looked flat.
They did. They didn't rush well. I mean, it's not like you didn't have a wide open receiver streaking up both sides every play. Like you said, everybody kind of came out flat. And I think that's probably – I don't think they should have this mentality. I think they probably looked at Virginia's record and assumed it was an easy win. And they absolutely should not be doing
Unfortunately, it
that.
happens.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
But I don't
and you're
think
right,
we were,
though.
I think our terminology I think our terminology was a little different, but I think we were basically talking about the same thing.
The same thing,
I'm not talking about a Brad Kaya who's got cinder blocks for feet. If you're going to get me maybe 20, 30 yards rushing a game because you got flushed out of the pocket, fine. But I don't want a Michael Vick that's looking to score an 80-yard rushing touchdown every other play.
I think Miami could use just a playmaker back there. I think we need a little bit more of a playmaker. And I think it's just because of our swag, too. When you think about Miami, you think, a different style of football player. I think we could just use someone that is a little bit of a playmaker. But again, sometimes you need a guy to stabilize the room. Like Shady says it all the time, how many different voices we've had in that quarterback room over the past few years. So you need a veteran like TVD sometimes to stabilize this offense, and so that you don't force Emory out there too early. If you truly believe Emory's the future, you have to protect him. Sometimes you got to protect players from themselves.
He was the Scotty Covington before Ken Dorsey. That's what Tyler Van Dyke will end up being. How many people in the chat remember that guy?
Drake May's a great example of what I want.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Yeah. He's a great example of what I want. As a matter of fact, if there's any way we should have trades in college football. Be able to trade for Drake May mid-season.
Well, listen, I've heard some, other players talk about him when he was being recruited. Drake May wasn't going anywhere but UNC.
Canes fans don't like me for saying this, but I thought Bo Nix was going to be our quarterback. I like Bo Nix.
I got to admit,
but I like him.
I got to admit, Bo Nix at Oregon has surprised me compared to the way he played at Auburn.
It's funny what happens when you got that Mario Cristobal recruited offensive line in front of you, isn't it?
Ain't it, though?
You back with us, Alex?
Yeah, I lost audio for a second. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, you were like froze up for like half the time like your mouth was moving though you couldn't hear you and stuff like for the past like 15 minutes. It's like you were just like gone and you kept freezing and all these like awkward, like
he keeps freezing again. I think we were getting ready to wrap it up anyway.
Yeah, we can't hear you now, Alex. There you go. I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, he keeps popping in and out. Yeah, we'll have to wrap this up here in a minute. I gotta go put a Halloween costume on and get ready for some fun Halloween stuff. Does anybody else got anything they want to add to today's great win?
Alex comes back just shaking his head.
Dude, I have been look, normally I talk a lot more, but I have been lagging this whole goddamn night, and we're here. This whole thing after the game has not been great because now we're here at my girlfriend's parents' place because her little brother broke.
Yep, there he goes again.
Yeah, there he goes. You're gone now.
That's what he gets for using an iPhone.
The pain is I know he can hear us right now.
Yeah, exactly. He can hear us. He's just like a mime,
Oh, that was hilarious.
I know. Between Slim's gunshots and Alex's mime impersonations, we're having the great night.
Hey,
I don't know what that was, Slim.
We may have some real gunshots if we beat Florida State.
Let's go. One more dub, man. NC State's next.
Hello.
Yeah, even the chat's feeling for you, man. Even the chat's feeling for you.
Yeah, we got NC State who, they beat Clemson by 7, but they beat them by 7 in regulation, which we didn't do.
And I think we've learned this year in the ACC, just pack a lunch every week. You don't know what you're going to get. Just pack a lunch, dude.
Well, and I say this all the time, and coaches say it all the time. You're not going to field the same team week to week. You're just not.
True.
No, and neither is the other team. Yeah,
exactly.
It goes both ways. And, just because one team plays the other team a certain way doesn't mean that the next team's going to play them any different. It's totally
different.
People.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's why the transitive property does not work in football.
Exactly.
Georgia Tech got stomped, had no defense, and then changed their defensive coordinator. We saw a completely different football team.
Exactly,
See,
Dominique.
I'm right here with Dominique. Yes, we're bowl eligible,
Bowl
which we
eligible.
weren't last year. Everything else is icing on the cake. And then this is something else I say till I'm blue in the face. Win your fucking bowl game.
For once.
Yes, please. God,
One
we need
bowl game since
I want trophies.
2007. Poor Alex.
just Alex popping back in, shaking his head constantly is the fucking best.
I don't get it. I don't fucking get it.
It's
Get
like
off
you're
the
good for a
iPhone,
minute,
bro.
then you'll be gone, you know.
He just pops
This is what I
back
was
on.
This is what I'm trying to say. I'm not at my place.
Get off the iPhone, bro. I'm telling you, those things are children's toys. They're trash.
Oh,
Coming live from a Nokia.
dude, I've been
Flipping it,
lagging. I've been lagging and unable to partake in almost anything tonight.
He's got that singular wireless connection.
Alas, singular! Holy shit! There's people in the chat that have no idea what that is.
None.
None.
That is
Singular?
What's hilarious is, hold on, what carrier do you have?
me,
Yes,
AT&T.
you have singular.
Yeah, you have
Yes,
singular.
Which
you
is
do.
hilarious, right?
You have singular.
That's fucking singular.
I do too. So don't feel bad. I have AT&T as well. but-
That's
I do
I haven't
too.
heard that word in so do I. I haven't
I
heard
just
that
date
word in
myself?
so long.
My
Just date
my,
myself with that one.
my connection right now
Nextel?
is
Are you
the
gonna say
equivalent.
Nextel next?
My connection right now is the equivalent of when you have to charge your phone, but you just have that one shitty charger, and you have to hold it and basically do like yoga to try to get it.
Or
to
the laptop that doesn't work unless it's plugged in.
Yeah.
I know we've all had one of those, a laptop that has to be charging or else it dies.
I think I
Also,
still have one of those.
I mean, no, this night hasn't been great because also we're at my fiance's place right now because her little brother broke his elbow. That's why I'm not at my
Ow.
setup. So like, yeah, I'm just sitting in the backyard. Like they're probably looking at me like a crazy person. Like, what is this? Why is this dude just talking on the phone?
It's like, you're really gonna marry
much
this
more
guy?
funny that you just like lost your shit a little bit after the connection went out last time, because they're probably even more confused as to what the fuck's going on now. That's great.
Hey, Brennan, at least I get to sit underneath my beautiful panels. Quick little plug there.
Yeah, that looks good, man. I like it. I need to get one of those.
Yeah, Chalupa, if you don't know, this is what I basically do for work. Like me and my
What?
dad's company, we produce these. Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking wicked.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, I've checked out the website. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
stuff.
we're trying to set up in Texas soon, so be on the lookout for that.
Yo, you got to let me know about that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Ayo.
We'll all be working
It's good
for
down
Alex
here,
before
man.
too long.
Barbecue and beer. We do nothing else good here. That's it. That's it. We do barbecue. We
geez.
do beer. We do niceness sometimes. But it's
All
just
right, well,
barbecue and beer, baby.
Let's wrap this thing up. Speaking of barbecue and beer, it's about. I don't know about the barbecue, but we got Shepherd's
beer
Pie and beer. Shepherd's.
Yeah, I
Pie
know
and
you
beer.
wanted to keep it under an hour, but we've been about half an hour over that.
I know. We
bombed on
normally
that.
do.
We bombed on that.
Anybody else? Slim, you got anything going on? Alex, got anything you want to plug?
I've annoyed enough people, and if you want to be annoyed more, check out my Twitter.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
If you want to see me
Such a great
react
fucking
to,
sentence.
I need to take a. I'm gonna change my profile picture on Twitter. I'm gonna hold up a sign saying "We'll argue for better quarterback play."
Your mentions are gonna be insane after that.
What is it? What is it? Is it at Slim Shady Canes, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, at Slim Shady Canes. So what about you, Alex? What do you got?
Instagram, Hurricane Central. You plugged my Twitter last time. We'll see if we can do it again. Where if you want to see me just bitch about the referees and NBA basketball and Florida Panthers hockey, you got me there.
All right. What is your Twitter? What is that?
It's just Daddy Longlegs in Spanish. So,
Oh,
Papi,
geez.
yeah, I know. Which, Chalupa, you didn't hear the story. The reason it's that is because in like middle school, I hit a growth spurt. I'm 6'3", by the way. I had a growth spurt.
Shit.
Yeah, I had a growth spurt where I became like 6 foot in 8th grade, and I was like 6 foot, 130 pounds soaking wet. And I had really,
you literally did look like a goddamn daddy long leg.
yeah, and there was like some
That's-
kid, and there was some other people like trying to like tease me about it, but like I just kind of like took it on the chin, and it got to the point where it's like in high school, they'd be
That's
like,
what
"Yo."
she said.
I tried to hold it through that
Nice.
so bad. I tried to hold it through that so bad.
Oh,
Hey, take it from a man who's now known as Chalupa Batman. Be careful what you put as your nickname on Twitter. That shit
Oh yeah, but
that shit follows you, my friend.
it looks funny. No, it's funny though because my Twitter is Papi Patalaga, but it looks like Papita Laga, which just looks like long French fry. So some people have been like, "Your name's Long French Fry."
This is it right here, right? Thanks, Workforce.
Be-
Appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Be
there you go.
very careful. Be
There
very
you go.
careful what you call yourself on Twitter. It follows you. Take it from a man who's now called Chalupa. Be careful. And I don't even like Batman.
You don't even like Batman, but you're Chalupa Batman.
I like Robin. I like Green Lantern. I like several other DC characters that is not Bruce Wayne.
Be Chalupa Spider-Man. You got the nice Ben Reilly mask going on back there.
See, someone should have told me that ahead of time. And then Alex Dono, man. Alex Dono saw the nickname Chalupa Batman and called me Chalupa Batman on an episode of Locked on Canes. And ever since then, no one gives a shit what my government name is.
Well, there you go.
Including my father, who will call me Chalupa now. It's great.
And Chalupa, you do like halftime shows and a lot of recruiting. So there's
So we
Chalupa's
do,
link to his YouTube right there. So
We do a halftime stream. We took a week off last week because I think I worked like 64 hours last week, and I was like, I don't want to talk about anything. But I usually do a halftime live stream, and then I have recruits on. We watch their tape together, and we talk about it while we watch their tape. So I had this week I had Diabell, the number 3 quarterback in the 2026 class. He was fresh off a Miami visit, so we hung out, watched his tape, talked about Coach Shannon Dawson, and if you ever just really want to get an insight to how good this staff is when it comes to recruiting, those videos will tell you. Like these young men love that staff, from the guys that are committed to the guys that we are going after. I asked them all the same question: what's your first impression? It's always like they love the relationship and it feels like family. Trust me, guys, Cristobal is building what we want him to build. Just like Shady keeps saying, the shit just takes time. It just
does.
takes time.
And you know, I think it would do a lot of people good to watch some more of your videos like that, because I can't tell you how many people I've heard called for a Dye's job, and I'm like, that man is one of the best, if not the best.
They love him. They absolutely love him
in the country.
I had 4-star cornerback Kevin Hume from St. Francis Academy. Interviewed him last week. Could not stop talking about how much he loved Coach Adai. He said Coach Adai's full of energy. When he talks to him and he shows him his tape, he's like, he breaks it down, makes him understand it better than anyone else. And Kevin's number one thing about Coach Adai is he develops DBs that go to the league. Say what you want about Coach Adai. His track record is
speaks for itself.
And that was one of the first things he said. So a lot of times fans have these weird things we put on coaches, and then you actually talk to the recruits that are recruiting them, and they're like, no, he's freaking awesome. Trust me, these guys love our staff. We hear so much, all the defensive line coaches and involved. Artavius Jones won't stop talking about Joe Salavea. Like it's sometimes the world is not what Twitter says it is. And I think I'll just leave it at that.
Or YouTube.
The world always
or
is what
YouTube,
Twitter
for
says
that
it
matter.
is.
Everything on
YouTube.
Twitter is factual, no matter which side you're on or anything like that. Everybody's always right. So
everybody's right, unless you're an Ohio State fan, then you're wrong.
Sorry, Mark.
So yeah, everybody, make sure you sub up Chalupa there, and let's check out his halftime shows and his recruiting videos. They're actually really cool. I've checked out quite a few of them. So
they're so much fun to do. They're hilarious because you just get to see players enjoy their own work, and then you get to ask them, I'm like, oh, how was this? And they light up when they start talking about like plays or their friends or their buddies. It's awesome.
We've got our Debbie Downer of the week. He just showed up late, right in time.
Oh man, I was about to congratulate the chat on not having a Debbie Downer of the week. I was
Oh
gonna be
no,
shocked.
yeah.
All right,
William
who you
with the
got?
prediction to follow up. This is a W. This is
Wait a
this
minute.
guy won.
Wait a minute. I think
William
that's a
McMillan
Florida
coming
State
in
fan.
hot. Aw.
Yeah, he might be a Florida State fan.
I'm trying to look at that picture, and it looks like the Florida State emblem. So I think that's a Florida State fan.
So too.
All right, he'll be our little bitch for the week.
All right.
Wait, it's not a clown. Is it a clown?
Yeah, we'll make him
Well,
a
I
Debbie.
mean,
We'll make him a Debbie Downer anyway.
I mean, listen. It's really easy to confuse the Florida State mascot with a clown. I get it.
I thought
Not to
that's what it
mention,
was, some type of.
they are still technically a clown college. That's not even a troll. That's a
canon.
real thing.
That's
Hey man,
Wow.
I've seen the girls in Tallahassee and they look like clowns.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll keep on moving. Yeah. So I guess that about sums it up. We won the game. We are bowl eligible, and everybody, make sure you sub up Chalupa. Make sure you go to @SlimShadyCanes. Make sure you sub up Alex too on there. Hurricane Central on Instagram, and somebody dropped the link up there a minute ago for his weird Twitter name. So good luck figuring that one out. You can find us on Traveling Fools on Twitter as well, or YouTube. Here's something fun I do want to shout out real quick. If anybody wants to have a good time tonight, we will be doing a hot pepper challenge at 10 o'clock on our channel tonight. We got a Carolina Reaper challenge. So I got a few people, some people from the college football community as well, will be coming on live to do a Carolina Reaper challenge live at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I got to go and get a costume on because it's actually a costume thing too. So it's actually going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to have some fun, check something out.
I love
10
you
o'clock.
too,
Get in the
William.
live chat.
10 o'clock.
I love
I
you
will be
too,
probably
William.
drunk in your
You're
live
so
chat, friend.
sweet.
Oh, William.
I think I have a secret admirer in the not so secret admirer in the chat now.
Oh, well.
Oh, you got a friend.
I
Cool.
do. I made a friend.
Nice. Slim,
I
you're
mean,
always
listen,
making friends.
I volunteer all the time to help the mentally challenged.
All right, guys.
And with that,
we are out of here. Good night, William. I hope you have a lovely evening. All right,
Love
thanks
you.
a lot, guys. Everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, I guess.